What is going on, my people? We are finally back again, bro. Hope everyone's doing absolutely fantastic. You've done already, family. Gals favorite is back again, bro. Here to preview everything that there is to preview for Matchday 33 in the Premier League. Some of the topics that we will touch on in this video include a very brief review of all the drama that happened during Matchday 32. And also the FA Cup final, as the FA Cup final this year will be a Manchester derby, so that should be really exciting. If any of that stuff does interest you, please stick around. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend, and let's get it cracking, bro. So there's really only one place to start, and that is, of course, at the Molineux Stadium this Tuesday, April 25th. When Wolves take on Crystal Palace. Wolves, they took on Leicester City and they lost 2-1. And then Crystal Palace, they drew 0-0 against Everton. This should be an interesting game, fam, considering that both teams didn't do very well in their last games. It kind of is for either side. Crystal Palace, for me personally, are my favorites, but they are going away from home. They've only had one solid away performance this season, so it kind of is for either side. So with that being said, as mentioned already, it is going to be very split. That's why I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. We then head over to Villa Park, where Aston Villa will be taking on Fulham. Aston Villa, they edged it in their last game against Brentford, drawing 1-1. Like, very late in the game, Douglas Luiz, I think, scored like the 80-something minutes, something like that. And then as for Fulham, they've done well in their last game, beating Leeds United 2-1. Great performance from them. Yeah, this should be a pretty level game. I think Aston Villa do have the upper hand though, because last few weeks they've been doing some good stuff when they play at home. So I do think they have the upper hand. I think they get the ball rolling again. But that isn't to say I think Fulham, they have just an equal opportunity to get at least a point out of this game. So with that being said, as mentioned, I do strongly believe that Aston Villa will bounce back. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for Aston Villa. We then have Leeds United taking on Leicester City. Leeds United, as mentioned already, lost their last game against Fulham, losing 2-1. And as for Leicester City, they won their last game 2-1 when they took on Wolves. Might be a split one. I think it kind of is for either side. I know for whatever reason, Leeds as of lately haven't been all that, and Leicester City, they haven't been all that either, but I thought they had a decent performance in their last game, and that might get the ball rolling for them to, you know, scramble a few points within the next couple of weeks. I'm not sure, but I did say I think it is going to be a pretty leveled game. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. We then, of course, have Nottingham Forest versus Brighton. Nottingham Forest, they didn't actually do too bad in the last game against Liverpool. If you guys recall, I thought they would draw their game against Liverpool. They ended up losing the game 3-2. But they put in a lot of effort. Neco Williams scoring against his former club. Yeah, they were very unlucky not to get at least a draw out of that, but it'd be what it be for them. And as for Brighton, they lost their game in the FA Cup semi-finals against Man United in penalties. I thought they were very unlucky not to at least get a goal, but honestly, it was a very level game between them and Man United. Man United, very deserving, but then again, penalties for me, they really do come down to luck. But anyways, I actually do fancy both of these teams getting something out of this game. I think Nottingham Forest can definitely get a draw out of this game. And then Brighton, they'll probably get the 3 points, but I am thinking about the fact that they'll be tired just based on the fact that they went into extra time and went on to penalties. So they'll definitely be tired going to this fixture. It's kind of an open game, but Brighton, for obvious reasons, are the favorites. I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw. After that, we do head over to Stamford Bridge, where Chelsea will take on Brentford. Chelsea in their last game in the Prem was, of course, against Brighton when they got put in the spliff. And then Brentford, I thought they did a poor job of drawing their last game, fam. They should have held on to the lead against Aston Villa. They scored a good goal, though. That combo between Mbeumo and Ivan Toney was absolutely brilliant. Put it on the plate for my man. But the defense, fam, really let them down. Had they just held on for a little bit longer, they definitely would have won the game. Brentford, for obvious reasons, are my favorites going into this game. I think most teams that are coming up against Chelsea lately have been my favorites to win the game. Chelsea, the most they'll do for me is get a goal, a scrappy one as well. But we're going to be relatively rested going into this game. That is something to consider, but I don't know. I don't think it's good enough. So with that being said, I am going to go for a 2-0 win for Brentford. We then head over to the London Stadium, where West Ham will be taking on Liverpool. West Ham, they've done well in their last game, really well. They put 4 past Bournemouth, done really, really well. That scorpion kick from Fornals was absolutely sick, bro. Like, that was so out of nowhere. Yeah, acrobatics was fantastic. Declan Rice also got himself a good goal. Yeah, West Ham, they've done well. I think the fact that they've done well in the Conference League, you know, it did help them. And as for Liverpool, they actually done okay in their last game. They conceded goals, but they done pretty decent. I thought Trent Alexander-Arnold had a great game. I'm telling you, fam, this guy would be an absolute maestro in midfield. He was playing some great balls, got some great assists. That one cross he made was absolutely ridiculous, bro. Put it on an absolute plate for Salah. Jota got himself a good goal as well in that game. Liverpool, they done decent. I think the most interesting thing for me going to this game is the fact that both West Ham and Liverpool are in some pretty decent form, fam. So I think we are in for a treat in this game, fam. I think it is going to be very leveled. It is for either side. I'm actually very split as to who can win this game, to be honest. So with that being said, as mentioned already, I think it is going to be a very action-packed game. I am going to go for a 2-2 draw. And believe it or not, West Ham for me are ever so slightly my favorites to possibly get the 3 points in this game. Moving on, we do head over to the most anticipated game of this match day, and that is of course Manchester City against Arsenal at the Etihad Stadium. This is going to tell a lot as to who will win the Premier League title. I think if City win this game, you know, it does favor them to win the Premier League. And as for Arsenal, I think if they lose this game, they still are up there to win the Premier League, but they're no longer favorites for me. They need to get something out of this. For me, I think Arsenal, based on their last result against Southampton, which was absolutely embarrassing. I don't get how you go 3-1 down at home to Southampton. They let Theo Walcott score, which is something that I anticipated, fam. I told you a lot that Theo Walcott would score in that game. They came back towards the end. They showed fight, but they were too much, way too late. They could have nearly won it, but they turned up way too late, fam. And that was absolutely unacceptable. For me, they just need to win this game. I think if they get a tie, they're back in that same position that they were in the beginning of the season of, you know, only dreaming, fam. They need to win this game. City are currently in the form of their lives, which is no surprise because City, towards this time of the season, are always flying, fam. The business end of the season is City's favorite time. It's when they like to do their thing. And they are in contention of potentially winning a treble. So City, they are on a high horse right now compared to Arsenal. Arsenal are in the dumps, bottling their last 3 games. I don't know where Arsenal are going to get inspiration from in this game, fam. I do believe that if Arsenal go on to win this game, I think it does put a spark in them and they will go on a run. But if they lose, a lot of questions will be in the air. And as I mentioned, I think City winning this game will automatically make them the favorites. I mean, they are already slightly the favorites, but this game, City winning it, will be massive. So with that being said, I think we are in for a blockbuster of a game. Should be very split. I know for a fact that Arsenal, just like City, are going to show loads of fight. I really do feel it is going to be a good game. Yeah, Arsenal, they need to play their cards wisely and choose a good lineup because this game for me will be very defining of the rest of the season. But anyways, I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for City. I think Arsenal do slip up in this game. However, I do think they score. I think this game might be very similar to the game that City had against Liverpool at the Etihad during the 18-19 season. I think it might be that type of game, but yeah, I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for Manchester City. We then head over to St. Mary's Stadium where Southampton will be taking on Bournemouth. Southampton, I think they were actually pretty impressive in their last game against Arsenal. Yeah, they did kind of bottle in the sense that they drew it, but it was a precious 1 point, fam, against Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium, fam. I mean, nobody would have ever imagined that would happen. And as for Bournemouth, they showed nothing in their last game, fam. They got absolutely battered by West Ham 4-0, as I mentioned already. For me, Solanke and I would say Billing were really the only ones that were, like, you know, they were really the only ones that were trying to make something happen, fam. They were trying absolutely everything they could, but, you know, 2 people can't do everything by themselves. It be what it be. I mean, yeah, like I mentioned, should be a very close game. I think it'll be an interesting one. And with that being said, I think that 1 point for Southampton against Arsenal last Friday might put them on a bit of a run. I'm going to go for a 1-0 win for Southampton in this game. We then head over to Goodison Park where Everton will take on Newcastle. Everton had an absolute snooze fest against Crystal Palace, and then Newcastle, they absolutely battered, bro. Absolutely battered Tottenham Hotspur. I thought it was going to be a leveled game. If you guys remember, I went for a 2-2 draw. Fam, oh my days, bro. Absolutely blew them out the park. We saw Isak with the brace, bro. They were just out of this world. Newcastle were out of this world. They were flying, bro, having the time of their lives. And then, of course, we did have that one rocket of a shot from Murphy. I mean, what a banger, bro. That pretty much summed up the game. Tottenham Hotspur were pinned to the wall like a red light district team, bro. So with that being said, I kind of do have mixed feelings of how this game will go. I know Newcastle are high flying right now in the form of their lives. For me, I am very convinced that they will get top 4. Everton, I don't know. I know they are in that battle right now with the whole relegation situation, but I don't know if they'll do anything in this game. Yeah, I don't see Everton doing anything in this game, honestly. As much as I want to be optimistic about them getting a point, I don't think it'll happen. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win for Newcastle. And the last and final fixture to conclude Matchday 33 in the Premier League is, of course, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where Tottenham will be taking on Manchester United on Thursday, April 27th. For me, I don't know. I don't think Tottenham will do anything in this game, to be honest. Tottenham, as mentioned already, they got absolutely pinned to the wall like a red light district team, bro, when they took on Newcastle. They never had a clue, bro. They got absolutely blown away. Harry Kane got that one goal, but it didn't mean anything, fam. They had been put in a spliff already, bro. And the defense was really poor. I know people are getting at Lloris a lot. And yeah, he did have a poor game. And he had an absolute howler, bro. But the defense, Romero, bro. Oh my days, bro. The defense was absolutely non-existent. I don't know what Tottenham's going to do in this game, because Man United currently are in really good form, fam. They are in the FA Cup final as well. So they're on a high horse, bro. You know, very full of confidence. I don't know how Spurs is going to stand a chance. Maybe because of the fact that it's a big occasion. They are playing at home. Maybe they get something. Maybe we're in for a thrill. But I think they'll get pinned to the wall yet again, bro. I'm going to go for a 3-0 win for United. Maybe United concede, because I know they do have that in them, but I'm going to go for a 3-0 win for United, honestly. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, of course, the FA Cup final. It's a Manchester derby, fam. Manchester City against Man United. I think we're in for a thrill, fam. This is what everybody wanted to see. This is what I wanted to see. I was really hoping we would get a Manchester derby, and that's exactly what we got. However, if you guys remember, I was convinced that it was going to be City against Brighton, and yeah, I'm very happy to see that it's gonna be a Manchester derby. City, they done well in their game against Sheffield United. The Mahrez hat trick was really dope. In the United game, it was a little bit boring, fam. A little bit of a snooze fest, and the Man United ended up winning on penalties. But yeah, if it were to be, this is, ladies and gentlemen, the FA Cup final for this year. Let me know in the comments down below, who do you think will win this game? What the score is gonna be? If you're asking me, I think the City will take the cup. I think they will. However, we are still very far away from this day, from the FA Cup final, and I think a lot can happen from now until the final. You know, maybe Haaland gets injured and he won't play in this game. Maybe City won't be playing very well. Maybe United won't be playing very well, or they'll be in the form of their lives in the Prem. You know, there is a lot of factors to consider from now until that day. It's not for a while, so anything can happen from then until now. But anyways, fam, I hope you lot did enjoy. If you did, like always, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a friend. Let me know in the comments down below what you enjoyed the most from Matchday 32, favorite goal, favorite player, what team played the best, and also what are you looking forward to the most for Matchday 33? Who is gonna win that game at the Etihad Stadium, Manchester City against Arsenal? I think it is gonna be very big. It's gonna be a title decider. It really is for me. But yeah, let me know your thoughts of who will win that game in the comments down below. But anyways, fam, like always, I hope everyone's doing absolutely fantastic, and I will see you guys soon.